Hello everybody and welcome back to part 6 of my Megaman Legend series. Been a little while since I have recorded these myself. I said I was doing 1 through 5 before I released any of them. I didn't really record much afterwards. I have since actually done my anime Dark Souls stream, and I didn't even get to releasing part 5 until after that weekend had happened, so there's a slight disconnect there. In part 5, I'm like, I need to play anime Dark Souls, and I showed that picture of, was anime Dark Souls a mistake? But I've already started playing it over the weekend. I've been doing a lot of work on my car recently, because I've had a car that's just been sitting around since the pandemic started. I've been driving a different one to work, just because it doesn't need as much maintenance. It's newer. And the newer one actually gets like 40 miles to the gallon, whereas my old 2010 Camry is like 20-ish miles to the gallon on good days. It has like a 20-gallon tank, whereas my new car has a 10-gallon tank and gets the same distance. So you can see in the background that I'm handing roll a bunch of stuff that I've found. Use the safety helmet to make the helmet. Now I won't fall over as much when I take damage. I believe she's also making the it's a powered buster. The powered buster. I was going to say the rocket launcher. The powered buster, which I'm going to equip for the next part. Most of this video is actually going to be me going through an optional digging / dungeon that was blocked off beforehand. No longer blocked off. The person who was... there was a person standing in front of it, but I never actually went there, so you didn't see that. So most of this one's going to be me exploring that new area. I think I even walk towards the storyline stuff. I look at it and I'm just like, nah, I'm gonna go do that dig. I'm gonna go do that dig that's over here, because the person who's standing in front of the storyline was the person who's standing in front of that door that no longer has the person standing in front of it. I don't think, even if you could get through her, that you need, or that you could get in there, because you require the digging license that you don't get until that cutscene where the mayor gives you the higher level digging license, and that cutscene is the cue for her to be moved to where the new cutscene is for the new storyline. I have to say, I wasn't planning on talking about politics at all on here, but as someone who is on the internet for most of my time, I have seen so many memes of, is it DeSantis? The fact that he passed a bill in the state of Florida that makes it easier to shoot looters and rioters in the state. Just all of the Florida has activated PvP mode, or like DeSantis on the podium, and then it's just like directly underneath him is the Doom guy. And I don't think it's that much of a hot take. I think if someone is threatening you or destroying your stuff blatantly and you've asked them to stop, that you have the right to stop them. Like, I'm pretty sure that that's actually part of our law already. So I'm not entirely sure what this bill actually says. I haven't read it. I just keep seeing all these internet posts about it. And I'm honestly kind of curious if anyone has actually read that. Does it really change anything? Or is it literally just, you already had the right to, but I'm telling you that you're allowed to exercise your right kind of thing going on there? Speaking of exercise, I have been trying to get myself to lift my weights basically every single day lately. I skipped yesterday, but that was because I was working on my car. Spent more time on that. And as much as I want to be doing the gameplay and the recording and the voiceovers like a whole lot more than I am now, I wish I had the time to do like 2 of these a day. Have a couple of series going on side by side. I get home from work, I basically make food, I lift my weights, and then I have to eat some more food, because I just lifted weights. Not a huge amount, but you know. And there's a period where I'm just like, I don't really want to sit in front of my computer and play games or do recording, because I just like got out of the shower after working out, kind of worn down. Thanks to pandemic prices, I've actually gone to the lengths of making all of my own concrete weights. So I have like 400 something pounds of concrete weights made for my Olympic barbell that I had to buy because my old barbell did not hold more than 300 pounds, and I was already deadlifting that much. And the strangest thing to me was when I purchased my Olympic barbell and it came through FedEx. FedEx tracking stopped one day because the thing is that FedEx delivers to my place at like 9 a.m. I am the first stop for whatever driver I have from FedEx. Literally beats me here. I will drive directly behind him from the UPS center, because the UPS center and the FedEx center in my area are literally side by side. I will pull out of UPS and I will follow the FedEx guy all the way to my place. But this morning, where I was supposed to get the barbell, I was checking tracking because he didn't come to my place immediately. I think I waited until like 10:30. I'm like, what the hell? They updated tracking and was like, oh, it's damaged. And I was just like, that barbell is rated to hold like 1,500 pounds. It's just 7 foot of steel that's rated to hold 1,500 pounds. How do you damage that? How do you damage just a 7 foot long piece of steel that's made to hold 1,500 pounds? In reality, they just like crushed the box so bad that the card, they put it in a box in a tube. So the cardboard box and the tube had both been destroyed, and they just wrapped tape around it and then re-delivered it the next day. I would have preferred to just get it the first day. Just give it to me with it like hanging out of the box. I don't care about the box. But you know, by the time the pandemic ends, I'm hoping to look like Uncle Iroh in that episode where he was he in prison for a long time. I haven't watched Avatar: The Last Airbender in so long. They hadn't seen him for a while, and he just comes out completely ripped with like a six-pack or something. He's buff as fuck. I'm pretty sure that working at UPS that I'm decently stronger than the average person. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm freaking massive or anything, but I can handle myself well with stuff, just because, I mean, I lift things all the time at UPS. You kind of just get used to it and moving around. You know, plus all my time working in a kitchen, like, people don't seem to understand that when you work in a restaurant and you're pushing like $10,000 worth of food out of the store every day in sales, that you got lots of like 50-pound bags of stuff coming in that you have to restock in the fridge or the freezer and put in the dry goods. Getting back to the game, you can see that now I'm fighting. It's like a reskin of the first boss, only he has that weird. He just launched his fists at me. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but he's got way more HP. He launches his fists forward for some reason. But other than that, he basically just acts the same. He slams down with both arms instead of one. You can still just run circles around him, just mildly outrange him. But if you're standing in that line, he always fires them completely left or completely right. He doesn't seem to angle it anyway. And I got some new light bulbs myself for the light fixtures that I have for when I stream. You might not notice it when I'm streaming, but I sure as hell do when I'm looking at my camera and trying to adjust the green screen I got behind me. All the little freaking black dots and the green that's appearing around me because it's either swaying slightly or because my lights aren't quite bright enough to light up the entire thing in the exact same color. and it irritates the crap out of me when I watch that and I'm trying to go into the filter and make it look right. I'm hoping that these much brighter lights that I have purchased to put behind me are gonna alleviate that. Oh god, this might be a blast from the past, because people have been making Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII content recently in the interim while they're waiting for, is it Final Fantasy VII Integrad remake from Square at the moment. People have been making the Final Fantasy VII and VIII content, at least, some moderately sized YouTubers. And because of that, I have recently had the spoony one, Noah Antweiler, come back up into my YouTube recommended feed with his Final Fantasy VIII review. And I haven't seen that in quite a while. But it was probably one of the things, I think I saw him before I saw the Angry Video Game Nerd, just because of YouTube relevancy at the time. Things I was watching were more aligned with the newer Final Fantasies, and I believe one of my friends had shown me his stuff on Counter Monkey, because we do D&D, or at least we used to all the time. And I would really like to get back to doing that. I've actually been spending time trying to come up with a decent story for my own campaign, but it's just figuring out how I want certain characters introduced that are important to the plot line, how they interact with everything going on, and how they're essentially going to be ripped out of the party at a specific point. Getting that all to work in there, having the party, essentially having this character kind of forced into the party. I don't really want to have to, but with how they are taken away later, I prefer that they feel a connection with the character, and that they feel like the character has a connection with them, so that when it happens, it's more meaningful. It's kind of meant to be a fairly low-powered campaign, but the way that we've been doing D&D, ever since I was 11, I've been playing D&D with this group. We do 8-hour sessions. We used to do them literally every week, and campaigns would run years. So trying to come up with a story I can write for that's gonna start off at level 1 and hopefully end at the epic levels 18, 19, 20. Coming up with something to write that's long enough to last years and have people want to come back for it and continue playing those characters is very difficult. But I could probably talk D&D just for hours upon hours. That was actually originally what I was thinking about doing with this channel 2 or 3 years ago, basically just copying how Noah Antweiler did Counter Monkey. Just sit on a couch, talk about some experiences you've had with D&D, because they can I mean, you're role-playing with a group of people, and I'd been playing D&D for 13 years when I was originally considering this. Probably at minimum we'd met twice to 3 times a month for 8-hour sessions, and sometimes we'd just go over to one of the guys' house on Friday. We wouldn't leave until midday Sunday, just sleeping on the floor eating Totino's pizzas and playing D&D. One of the funniest stories I think I've heard would be from one where I don't think I was there. I'm pretty sure it happened slightly before I joined the group, because my middle brother was the one who introduced me to the guy who was DMing. Was a level 1. I want to say it was a giant wasp or a giant bee or a giant fly or something. It was a giant insect. My brother was playing a paladin, and this is 2nd edition, so in combat, critical fails are just you hit yourself. He goes into combat with this giant giant insect. It's a giant flying insect. And he instantly one-shots himself with his two-handed sword. And the other party members after this just walk over and they see his corpse with his own two-handed sword jutting out of it and this giant bug flying over him like, oh, I guess that giant fly took his sword and then killed him with it. It was like, what the fuck, guys? But there were so many absolutely hilarious times in those games. There was one where one of the guys was like pinned up on hooks or something in a cave wall, and the enemy was he was alone, like trapped in the enemy's prison, essentially pinned up against this cave wall. And the enemy just sliced him open and started pulling out his organs in front of him, but constantly healing him so he wouldn't die. Starts pulling out his lower intestines, and he just goes, that's my squiggly spooge. I needs that to live. But honestly, if you ever get into D&D, you really have to find a group of people that you can warm up to quickly. Just make really stupid jokes like that, because the entire point of getting together for a game like that is to have fun. I mean, you're hanging out, making stupid jokes. You're of course, you know, there's a story and you're there because you want to play the story of the game, but you're there for the ride, not just to get to the ending. I mean, as we started playing less frequently, we probably started spending like the first hour or so of meeting up, just catching up, having a beer, talking, before we'd finally sit down and be like, okay, you know, where'd we leave off last time when, you know, on this fantastical adventure. So I'm finally getting to the point where I'm backtracking my way out of the dig I'm in. I believe I've been everywhere I can be with the equipment that I have, and I'm just about to head back to the story part of the game. I'm just gonna end up skipping anything I run into and out of the dig. I will head back to roll before I go into the story part of the dungeon. Or the story part of the game, not dungeon. I just got out of the dungeon. So that I can recharge my energy at data. And this next part is just... It seems so stupid funny, because roll is... So you're going through here, and for whatever reason... Roll is following you to the gate that you're going to for the story dungeon in her car, but there are tanks everywhere, and those I don't even know what to call those cannon things that can aim up and down, they pivot, that happened before I got to Teasel in part 5. They have those, and you have to destroy those so that she can move forward. I'm getting out of here. Look at how fast she runs. But the weird thing is that they don't seem to care about her at all. She doesn't really seem to care about them at all. But she has a very set path.
We've got to buy Miss Tron the time she needs to finish the robot. Okay, everybody, on your toes. Let's show Miss Tron what we can do. I've come to back you up, Megaman. I may not be able to do much, but if you get in trouble, get inside the car, okay? I'll get you back to safety.
You would have to supremely fuck up to have to leave this area, in my opinion. Or you just like...
A little bit more more, Mega Man.
having
We're
Roll
almost
ram
there.
into you, because that's the thing I'm getting to, is that because of how set her path is,
If
you can
get
just
trouble,
stand in
use
front
the
of her.
car as a shield.
And she will ram you. She does not slow down, she doesn't stop. She just rams you, and then, oh, I'm sorry, Mega Man. I'm new to driving. It's like, but you, how long have you had the flutter? How long have you been driving that? You may not have to worry about hitting people, but I assume you avoid things like flocks of birds. Like here, I'm just like, are you gonna?
I'm sorry, Mega Man. Oh, Mega Man, I'm so sorry.
But yeah, see, they don't seem to care that she's right there in front of the ones. I think she's directly in front of the ones that was pivoting for a second there. Those weird cannon things. I don't know what the hell those things are. The sentries, turrets. And then you get up to this last one, and she is going to go for ramming the door down. Because apparently I can't just shoot it with my rocket launcher.
Huh?
I'm like, yeah, I don't do anything to it.
I'm gonna ram it, Mega Man.
Wait, roll,
Stand
hold
back.
on. Just, I think I dropped something here. Let me search for a second. No, I don't think it's here. Oh God, please no.
Sorry, Mega Man. I'm not used to driving yet.
Again, how long has she had that flutter for? But that's going to be the end of part 6, and I hope to see you guys next time when I start exploring these ruins in part 7.